Joining us now from LICORbio is Jessica Zinskie. She is the Global Sales Enablement and Training Manager. Welcome, Dr. Zinskie.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm really excited to be here today to present quantifying potency in cell and gene therapy with the In-Cell Western Assay. So I'm going to be focusing primarily on applications in cell therapy. However, many of the concepts I discussed today are really relevant to gene therapy also. So just keep that in mind. The In-Cell Western Assay is a versatile cell-based platform that can be applied across a wide range of biological questions. It can be used as a quantitative cell-based approach to measure potency in cell therapies, and it can help address some really key challenges that are experienced in this space. One of the biggest challenges in developing advanced therapies isn't just demonstrating efficacy. It's really proving in a way that it's consistent, quantitative, and acceptable to regulators. Potency assays sit right here in the center of that challenge. And if you've worked in this space, which most of you have, you know that there's rarely a single perfect assay. Most teams rely on a combination of methods. They all have their own strengths and limitations. So today I'm going to talk about a different way to think about potency. I'm going to talk about one way that brings together biological relevance, quantification, and scalability. So you're all familiar with what's on this slide. The regulatory definitions and how the agencies like the FDA define potency. Potency is critical because every therapeutic product is required to have a validated potency assay. Oftentimes you'll have more than just one. But in practice, for those of you who are working directly in development, what really matters is that the potency assays are often one of the most challenging and rate-limiting steps in the development of advanced therapies. Potency is inherently difficult to measure due to the complexity of the biology. The fact that each therapy is unique, the regulatory expectations that must be met, the complexity of the biology. The FDA addressed this through their potency assay assurance strategy. They outlined a well-designed potency assay and what should include. What they say is that these assays need to be, most importantly, quantitative. They have to include appropriate standards and controls, and they must demonstrate some key performance characteristics, such as accuracy, sensitivity, specificity, and reproducibility. But these aren't just buzzwords. They really are critical requirements for developing a robust and reliable assay. Well, when you combine all of this, complexity of the biology, the uniqueness of the therapies, and the regulatory expectations, it's not surprising that there isn't a single universal assay that can capture potency on its own. So to address this, many groups have adopted what's known as the matrix approach, where multiple assays are used together to measure the different aspects of a therapy's biological activity. Well, this might help reduce the reliance on a single assay, which is important, but it now introduces more challenges. It adds complexity, it increases cost, and it can make development and validation so much more difficult. So what do we do? How do we simplify this? Well, this is where the In-Cell Western Assay comes in. It can serve as that quantitative, biologically relevant component of a potency assay. It's going to be a functional potency assay. It can even help streamline your strategy because you can consolidate previously what was done in multiple readouts into a single functional cell-based assay. When we look at the typical toolbox of assays, the ones that I have on here, each of them have their own strengths, but also clear trade-offs. And I'm not going to go through each one of these. There's a lot to talk about, but I think there are a few key advantages of where the In-Cell Western Assay can really be particularly well suited for the potency assay. First and foremost, it is a cell-based assay. So you're measuring a biologically relevant response in the context of intact cells. This is so important for a cell-based therapy. Second, it supports multiplexing and has built-in normalization. That's allowing for more accurate and quantitative measurements. And finally, the workflow, instrumentation, and analysis software, well, they're designed to be straightforward and very user-friendly. So all of the assays that are on here, they can capture the pieces of biology, but it's difficult to do that in a way that's quantitative, scalable, and still biologically relevant all at once. That's where the In-Cell Western Assay brings all of those elements together in a single platform. So what is it? Okay, let's talk about the assay now. At its core, it's a higher throughput quantitative cell-based assay. It allows you to directly measure protein expression within cells, whether that means intracellularly or at the cell surface, and you're going to be doing this using immunofluorescence. Because it's performed in a microplate format, in about, typically 96 or 384 wells, it's inherently scalable and well suited for generating robust, reproducible data. What makes this especially relevant for the potency assay is that it keeps the biology intact. You're measuring your target in the context of the cell rather than in a lysate or an isolated system. And for many cell and gene therapies, the ultimate goal is to modulate protein expression or activity. So instead of measuring DNA or RNA as a surrogate, you're instead directly measuring the protein level outcome of that therapy. So simply put, the In-Cell Western Assay enables you to measure protein expression in a way that is quantitative, biologically relevant, and scalable. And these three things are often difficult to achieve at the same time. So here's an overview of the workflow for an In-Cell Western Assay. It begins by first plating your disease-relevant target cells, often tumor cells, in your 96 or 384 wells, and then you allow them to grow. Then you're going to add your CAR T cells or other treatment to the target cells and allow them to incubate. We want to allow target engagement and induce a biological response. The assay stopped by fixation. We're going to preserve the cellular state of that cell. Then we're going to target intracellular cells, targets that permeabilizing the cells. However, if your target's on the cell surface, not a big deal. We skip this step. The cells are then blocked to reduce nonspecific binding. And then the primary antibody is added, and then we wash. The secondary antibody is added, and then we wash, and then you image it and analyze it. So we eliminate a lot of the issues that we see with other commonly performed potency assays. So to bring all this together, I'm going to walk through a real life example of how this assay has been used as a potency assay, but in gene therapy. While this example is from gene therapy, the underlying workflow and principles translate directly to cell therapy, particularly when measuring a mechanism-linked functional response in a cell-based context. So here, in this example, researchers developed a gene therapy targeting FKRP. This is a protein involved in the glycosylation of alpha DG. This figure shows the response of those cells after treatment. You can see at the top, we're going to have a Western blot. And at the bottom, we're going to have the In-Cell Western. In both cases, we see a clear dose response restoration of the alpha DG glycosylation. That reflects the biological function of the protein. However, it's the In-Cell Western format that allows for more data points. And then also, you can measure multiple clones within this single experiment. So you just simply get more data from one plate. And what's important is we're not just measuring expression here. It's not just saying, oh, our therapy was expressed. More importantly, we are measuring biological activity that is directly tied to the mechanism of action of that therapy. That's why this is a functional potency assay. Now, because this response is dose dependent, parameters like IC and EC50 values can be calculated, and that's going to enable quantitative comparisons between, let's say, different batches, for example. As I mentioned, this is an example for gene therapy, but the same concept applies for cell therapy, where the ultimate goal is to measure a functional response, maybe signaling, activation, or target cell effects. While the focus of this talk was the potency assay, this isn't a one-trick pony. The In-Cell Western Assay has been used for a wide variety of different applications. Now, the specific viral-based ones, starting with infectivity, are going to be viral vector characterization, quantifying viral titers, and measuring viral replication. Beyond infectivity, it also enables quantification of protein expression within cells. It can support target identification, help elucidate mechanism of action, and provide insight into host pathogen interactions. These same capabilities make it highly useful in drug discovery settings. So, high throughput screening of conditions, constructs, biology, and generating dose response curves. From a practical perspective, what this means is that if you're studying a viral vector, maybe like a lentivirus, you can use it to quantify a viral infectivity, then measure transduction efficiency, and all of this is going to be done to provide a quantitative and scalable approach to viral characterization. Now let's talk about how you're going to image these samples, because while the assay is great, it's over 20 years old, versatile, well used, what you have to consider is how you're going to acquire an image of it. And what takes that image to the next level is going to be the instrument you're using. So it does work best on our world-class instruments. I'm not going to go through our instruments and the specifications for time purposes, but there's really nothing else like them on the market. Our instruments have unmatched dynamic range, over 6 logs, which is 2 logs higher than anyone else. The lasers afford high sensitivity. The detectors capture more light than cells can even produce. If you're not familiar with the Odyssey imagers, they are platform instruments, meaning they can be used to image a wide variety of applications. So I mentioned plates, but they can also be used for gels, protein and nucleic acid gels, blots, membranes, protein arrays, and they can also be used for organs and tissue sectioning. So you can adopt one assay, but then use your instrument for so much more. And I'm going to conclude with the most common concern that I hear when I discuss the In-Cell Western Assay, and that's the regulatory offerings. Well, we offer a wide range of options to support GMP compliance. This includes IQ/OQ services, in addition to imager verification plates. And that's going to be if anybody wants to perform their own OQs in-house. We do help support that so you can onboard it. And then we also have 21 CFR Part 11 ready software. So this is going to provide the data integrity control and confidence that you're going to need in a regulated environment. So building on all of that, I just want to talk about LICOR. The company itself is over 50 years. My division is over 30 years old. We pioneered near infrared technology. Through that, we have developed over 50 patents worldwide. We have over 120,000 publications. We also have our software, which we describe it as a unicorn, and that has over 100,000 downloads, free downloads, I might add. And our instruments are used worldwide in thousands of applications. So this is, we are a very well-respected, well-known company worldwide. Now, to summarize all this key takeaways, what I want you to walk away from this is that the potency assay has its necessary characteristics, has to be quantitative. A lot of groups are using the matrix approach. That could be complex. Let's simplify it. Let's reduce the amount of assays that you're doing with the In-Cell Western Assay. It's going to provide for you quantitative protein measurement, cell-based content, and higher throughput and increased reproducibility. It can either support or simplify your potency strategies. And with that, just a reiteration, I know that you have my contact information, but in addition to that, we have internal support. We have a group that is dedicated to supporting cell-based assays. If you ever have a question, reach out to them. Worldwide, our technical experts will be able to provide advice or answer any of your questions. So thank you for your time. I appreciate your attention. And do you have any questions?
Great presentation, Jessica, and a great set of solutions too. They just kept coming. It was just really interesting stuff. Do you have a drug master file with the FDA, and can it be used by your customers?
We don't a master file. However, I have worked with several groups that have successfully submitted for IND. So we do have a understanding of what's necessary and what goes into that submission. And also we do have a collaboration, I haven't mentioned it here, with Franklin Bio CRO in Philadelphia, and they have successfully submitted many gene therapy products into IND with the In-Cell Western Assay. So our collaboration really helps us support our customers as they're going through that, offering any support from a regulatory perspective.
Ah, good stuff. Franklin Bio. I have it. They've been part of this event in the past. So, question about the In-Cell Western Assay. How do the regulators feel about that, or what do they think about that?
It's very well accepted. It is appreciated, and like I said, it's gone successfully through IND and also BLA for other therapies. And of course, a lot of this is private, so I know by talking to my customers, but from my limited interaction with them, it has been successfully gone through IND and also BLA.
All right, great stuff. Great job, Jessica. Just a great set of solutions. Thank you for being with us today. Dr. Jessica Zinskie from LICORbio.